Hello there, I'm Mrs. Groovy Groves and I'm here to help you with surface area of a rectangular prism. Alright, it's very important that you understand that this homework is to be done on a separate sheet of paper. I'm going to do it right beside it, but because I don't want to flip between papers and it'll make the video longer as well. So please understand this is to be done on a separate sheet of paper. You don't need to draw the picture out on a separate sheet of paper. You just need to show your formulas and your calculations. So I'm going to highlight what we're going to focus on first, okay? This bottom rectangle has dimensions of, I want to write out our formula. So this bottom has a dimension of 11. And this dimension here would be 2, ladies and gentlemen, because all of these would be 2. So I'm just going to put a 2 here. So we have 11 times 2, and that is 22. Now, if the bottom is 22, that means the top is going to be 22. So we're going to times this by 2 to get 44. So that was my top and bottom. Now I'm going to calculate the left side here. Okay, this left side, excuse me, this left side is a 2 by 7. So I want to have area of this is base times height. I have 7 times 2, which is 14. And if the left side is 14, that means the right side is going to be 14. So we're going to times this by 2. And 14 times 2 is 28. Okay, now what we're going to do, I'm going to highlight so you can focus on what we need, what I want you to focus on, is this back one here. This green one. This one has a base of 11 and a height of 7, ladies and gentlemen. It has a height of 7 because this is 7, so is this one, and this one. So I could even put 7 right here. So we have, do this in a different color. Area of a rectangle is base times height. So we have 11 times 7, which is 77. And 77 times 2 is 154. Remember, we're timesing by 2 because if the back is 77, then the front is 77. So now we have 154. And what we have to do with all 3 of those numbers is we're going to take 44 plus 28 plus 154. So when you add up all 3 of those numbers, you're going to get 226 meters squared. Alrighty, let's move on to the next one. And again, I'm making it squeeze in here. I don't like that. Make sure you use a separate sheet of paper, please. Okay, I'm going to give it its 3-dimensionality by adding some dashed lines because it's really helpful for me. So let's start with the bottom. Okay, and also let's throw in some more numbers because if this is 12, so would be this one. This would be 10. This would be 9, you know? Okay, so the bottom. And again, ladies and gentlemen, please, I don't have space here. I need you to go on a separate sheet of paper, please. So let's start off with the first rectangle. I have the bottom rectangle. So the bottom rectangle is 12 by 9, okay? So we're going to input 12 times 9. 12 times 9 is 108. Now you have the bottom at 108 and you would have the top at 108. So we're going to times that by 2 And 108 times 2 is 216. Okay? All right, that was the yellow one. Now let's do, that was the bottom and the top. Now let's do this back one here, okay? In purple. Ooh, I just don't like how I don't have much space. So I have base times height. My dimensions of this purple rectangle would be, this is 9, and this is, oh, sorry, this is not a 9 right there. That is a 10. Because they said this was 10, which means this is 10, that's 10, and that's 10. And this is 12, 12, 12, 12. And if this is 9, so are those 4, ladies and gentlemen. This would be 9 as well. So in the back here, what we have is we have this 9 by 10. It's a 9 by 10. So we have 9 times 10, which is 90. And if the back is 90, that means the front is 90. So we would get 180. Okay? And now we have, so now let's focus on this side here. This one. This is a 12 by 10. We got a 12 by 10, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm going to do this, and we're going to have 12 times 10, which is 120. And if, again, there's 2 sides that have that, the right side and the left side. So 120 times 2 is 240. And now we're going to add up all 3 numbers. So we're going to add up 240 plus 216 plus 180. When you add up all 3 of those numbers, you shall get 636 feet squared. Final answer. Alrighty, let's move on to the next one. And please, please be doing this on a separate sheet of paper. Otherwise, you won't get full credit. I'm going to give this its 3-dimensionality here. And I'm going to get rid of, well, let me see. Ooh, I can draw a box here. Okay, well, I don't want to mess with this right now. So I'm just going to erase what I did on the last problem just so I can make more space and more room. Okay? All right, so let's do this. I want to highlight what we should focus on first. Time out. I want to add some more dimensions. This one would be 8. This would be 4. This would be 3. Okay? So let's start with area of a rectangle is base times height. So I'm going to highlight this bottom rectangle right there. The bottom rectangle is a 4 by 8, ladies and gentlemen. So we have 4 times 8, which is 32. The bottom's 32, the top is 32. So let's times 32 by 2, and we shall get 64. Alrighty, so now let's focus on this side here. This left side, okay? The left side would be 8 by 3. It's an 8 by 3. So I have 8 times 3 is 24, and we would have both the left and the right side, so we would have 48. Okay? And now let's focus our attention on the back. Hold on a second. Gotta use my highlighter. This back rectangle here, I have a 4 by 3. Okay? So, I would have, I'm going to input into my formula 4 times 3, which is 12. And if we have the back at 12, that means the front would be 12. So 12 times 2 is 24. And now what we're going to do is we're going to add all three numbers up. I have the 64 plus the 48 plus the 24. So when we add up all three of those numbers, we would get 136 inches squared. Remember that area is squared and volume is always cubic units. All right, moving along to number 4. Okay, before I start number 4, I'm going to add its three-dimensionality so we can see the faces better. I'm also going to input some more numbers so you can kind of see it better, okay? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to highlight, I'm going to highlight this blue bottom rectangle here. It's a 16 by 11. So let's write out our formula. And we have 16 times 11. 16 times 11 is 176. So we're going to multiply by 2 since it would be top and bottom. And that would give us 352. Okay, next, let's do the back one here. This back one. It's a 16 by 10. No, because this one was 16. So we have area of a rectangle is base times height. And we have 16 times 10, which is 160. And we would have the back and the front at 160. So that would give us 320. Alrighty, let's do the right side over here. This right side would be 11 by 10, ladies and gentlemen. Again, because this is 11. All of those sides were 11. So we would have, I'm going to write this down over here. I would have an 11 by 10. So that would give us 110. And we would have 2 of them. So let me see. We would have the right side at 110 and the left side at 110. So that would give us 220. And now we're going to add up all 3 of those numbers. We're going to add up 352 plus 320 plus 220. So let's add up those 3 numbers. And we shall get 892 centimeters squared. Alrighty, let me fix that square. Alright, let me double check. It's always nice to double check your numbers to make sure that you added it correctly. Okay, number 5. So, alright, let's do this. Let's add its little dashed lines so we can give it its three-dimensionality. And let's throw down some more dimensions so we can kind of see it better. Okie dokes. So, let's start right here with this bottom rectangle. Okay. So I would have, and I'm going to erase this over here. Well, let me see. I'm going to have to find some space. Again, I hope you're doing it on a separate sheet of paper. Okay, so I have 10 times 3, which is 30. And we would have 2 sides, the bottom and the top. So that would give us 60, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so let me make some space over here. All right, so now let's go to the next side. Over here, we would have a 3 by 4, okay? So we need to do, I'm going to have this base times height, we have 3 times 4, which is 12. And again, we would have 2 of them, so that would give us 24. Okay? And now our third one would be the back. Ooh, this is a little, I think my, okay. Oopsie. I think my drawing was kind of a little odd, but it's okay. This would be 10. This is a 10 by 4. Okay? So we have a 10 by 4. And we would do, here, I'm going to erase this over here on the side so I can make more space. Okay? So over here, I would have base times height, and I would have 10 times 4. 10 times 4 is 40. And if the back is 40, the front is 40. So 40 times 80, so 40 times 2 is 80. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add up all 3 of those numbers, 60 plus 24 plus 80. $60 plus 80 plus 24 is 164 centimeters squared. Alrighty, let's move on to number 6, okay? So let's do its 3-dimensionality. Dun dun dun. Okay. Oh, and I accidentally okay, there we go. Okay, and I'm going to add some more dimensions just so you can see it better, because those would be the same, that would be the same over here, this 15 here. Okay, so let's take a look at the bottom rectangle. The bottom rectangle, is a 15 by 5. Okay, 15 times 5 is 75. The bottom and the top would have the same dimensions, so 75 times 2 is 150. Okie dokes. Let's do this left rectangle. The left rectangle, is a 5 by 11. 5 by 11. So 5 times 11 is 55. And again, we would have 2 of them because we would have the right side be the same. Okay? So 55 times 2. 55 times 2 is 110. And now let's focus our attention on the back rectangle over here. The back rectangle over here would have dimensions of 15 by 11. So we would have 15 times 11. And that would be 165. So if the back's 165, that means the front is 165. 165 times 2 is 330. And now it's time for the final step, is we're going to add up all 3 numbers. 150 plus 110 plus 330. So let's add them up. And we would get 590 millimeters squared. Alrighty, let's get going on to problem number 7. Okay, so let me give it its 3-dimensionality. And let me add more numbers in that would be the same. Okay, I'm going to erase some stuff over here so that I can make more space, okay? All right, so let's do this. We have this bottom rectangle. The bottom rectangle is 13 by 2. 13 times 2 is 26, and we would have the bottom and the top be the same. So 26 times 2 is 52. Alrighty, next, this left side here, okay? The left side would be, the left side would be 2 times 11, which is 22. The left and the right side would have the same would have the same dimensions, same area. So 22 times 2 is 44. All right, now let's focus in on the green here in the back, okay? This green has a dimension of 13 by 11. So we have base times height. We have 13 times 11. 13 times 11 is 143. And if the back is 143, that means the front is 143 as well. So times that by 2 to get 286. And now let's add up all three numbers. 52 plus 44 plus 286 is 382 millimeters squared. Alrighty, moving on to number 8. Okay, so again, little dashed lines to give it its three-dimensionality. And I'm going to add in some more units so we can kind of see it a little bit better. Okay. All right. So now we have, okay, let me make some space over here. So we have the bottom. Let's start with the bottom here. Dun, dun, dun. And please remember that you are doing this on a separate sheet of paper. The blue rectangle has dimensions of 18 times 14. I'm sorry, 8 times 14. 8 times 14 is 112. And if the bottom's 112, that means the top would be 112. So 112 times 2 is 224. All right, let's do the left side, okay? So now we have the left side right there. So that means we would have 14 by 9, okay? So let's write this out. It would be 14 times 9. 14 times 9 is 126. Now we would have the right and the left be the same. So 126 times 2 is 252. And let's do the third rectangle, which would be, I'll do this back one, and that would be 8 by 9. It's an 8 by 9. 8 times 9 is 72, and if the back is 72, the front's going to be 72 as well. So 72 times 2 is 144. Now for the final step, we're going to add 224 plus 252 plus 144. So let's see what we get. 224 plus 252 plus 144. That equals 620 meters squared. Okay, the last problem. All right, let's do this. Okay, I'm going to add some more dimensions so we can see it a little bit better. And I'm going to erase all the previous work so that you're not confused with what's going on here. Okay, I just want to make some space. And I really hope you're going on a separate sheet of paper, all of this stuff. Okay? So, last problem. Let's highlight the bottom rectangle. Okay? The bottom rectangle is a 9 by 3. 9 times 3 is 27. And if the bottom's 27, the top is 27. Okay? 27 times 2 is 54. Okay. Now let's focus our attention on the left rectangle. Okay? The left rectangle is 3 by 13. 3 by 13 is 39. And if the left is 39, that means the right is 39. So 39 times 2 is 78. And now the last one over here, this back rectangle, I will have as 9 times 13. Okay, 9 times 13 is 117. So if the back's 117, that means the front is 117 as well. And 117 times 2 is 234. And the last three numbers we add is 54 plus 78 plus 234. So we have, let me add that up. We have 366 feet squared. And that is it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope I have helped you with surface area of rectangular prisms. And I challenge you to do 10 on your own, okay? I didn't assign it, but if you want to do it, go for it, all right? Alrighty, so anywho, I hope I have helped you, and this is Mrs. Groovy Grove signing out. Have a wonderful